Hello and welcome to LCS Championship Weekend, delivered by Grubhub at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. We had the teams arriving just moments ago as the only three that remain, TL, NRG, and Cloud9, awaiting the winner in the final matchup tomorrow.
Scripted.
just a bit
it's
scripted.
It's a 3-0, is that the...
It's a 3-0.
I think that's so we got at least one prediction in already. We'll get to the rest of them at the end of our segment here.
I appreciate them leaning into the whole rock, paper, scissors thing because of what they were doing during the pause.
True.
That's fun.
Got to bring that back for sure. NRG coming in with a bit more of a tempered approach here in this one.
They came in on a clown car.
Either way, it's lovely to be here amongst all of the LCS fans and amongst a few of my best friends and brightest minds in the League of Legends community. We've got Mark Z, we've got Emily Rand, we've got Jat, we've got Raz, and I, of course, am Dash. Here to bring it to you in this final weekend of LCS. But we got to talk about how we got here, because as there are only 3 teams that remain, it was 8 that entered the postseason and have since been whittled down in double elim action. Let's take a look at that bracket and see how we got to where we are, as today's best of 5 mark is a playoffs rematch.
It's surprising to see the 4th and 5th seed playing in the last loser's final spot. I think they pulled off some big upsets to take down names like Golden Guardians, Evil Geniuses.
Credit to Team Liquid. They're the ones that went up against Evil Geniuses, made it look easy, went up against Golden Guardians, that went the distance. It actually went 6 games.
Took an extra game.
Yeah, but they got the job done and they're here today.
And then on the flip side, NRG winning their first matches on the upper side of the bracket, because they've been up here before when they finished 4th in spring, managed to finally take a few, especially the Golden Guardians one, I think was a real surprise. Obviously, they did unfortunately get 3-0'd by C9, dropped down, but it is kind of a cool story of they've been here before, and this is the first time they've actually been able to make that bracket run.
Yeah, we'll spend the next hour discussing it, of course, but you know, interesting to think that NRG knocks TL down, and now in the rematch, based on the trajectory of both these teams in playoffs, though, it's back to feeling like anyone's game, not a sure thing that we're just going to have a repeat of the results.
Absolutely, because the first time they played, it was the 3-1, but APA had a very nervy series.
Yeah.
And he has improved his play since then, so I don't expect that matchup to be as one-sided this time, which then opens up the series to being a lot more unknown.
Absolutely, and while we talk about Team Liquid getting knocked down and having to run the gauntlet, it's NRG, I think, who for many was one of the big surprises of the postseason and how they could remain up top side. And for a number of these players, the core of that roster, right, what it will mean for them to have gotten this deep. Contractz, one of the guys that we talk about specifically, last time he was at Worlds was 6 years ago.
Woo, only yesterday, man.
Only yesterday, right? That's what we like to think, us boomers on the team. But also, where were his teammates back in 2017?
All right, we got Palafox was attending that famous 2017 Scouting Grounds.
I appreciate the Dhokla and FBI both being in Oceania on Sin Gaming, something I actually forgot until they mentioned it in an interview before. They're like, oh yeah, we played together years ago.
Playing with their current, one of their coaches in June.
Yeah, he snuck into that photo as well. And then obviously IgNar taking Faker to 5 games, as Faker qualified for Worlds again last night.
Woo!
So IgNar versus Faker is going to happen again too, maybe.
It's a possibility.
If the Swiss falls the right way.
Rune changes, maybe. Get Fervor in there.
You can't take Fervor, he's going to take Conqueror, dude. You can still do it.
Well, like I said, we previously discussed that that Contractz has been here. It's interesting to track the journeys of those other players, but again, how meaningful and the emotion that you even saw on his face in the qualification series right there back in the LCS studios. You know how much it means for him, but I know that this is going to mean just as much, right? Another opportunity to play, make your way to a possible domestic title in a stadium in front of roaring fans.
Yeah, and I know we're still 54 minutes away from the player intros, but the enthusiasm we saw from NRG yesterday during just the rehearsals, they are really happy to be here. And I hope that they are able to channel that energy to play well. The fear would be they have that energy and it makes them way too hyped and have an over-aggressive game 1.
I mean, that's definitely something we're going to have to talk about over the course of today, is just the fact that it has a lot of rookies or players who have not yet played on a stage of this level, and how you adapt to that is crazy. The stage will vibrate from the crowd. And it's something that every single time a player takes a stage like this for the first time, they comment on afterwards, being like, that was crazy, my mouse was moving my hand.
And it goes back to the point, bringing up the last time they played in the first round, because when one team had a lead, it was easy for that team to lose that lead because of hyphy plays that they would make.
Yeah.
We'd listen to comms, specifically NRGs, and like IgNar's yelling. It's easy to get lost in the moment. That might happen, especially on a bigger stage with a louder arena. So that's something to track, as you mentioned.
It's also where we'll look to some of those experienced players on both rosters who have been in situations like this before to help steady the team and get them moving towards a singular goal. For now, though, it's quiz time. Production has kindly set up a little bit of a secret quiz for us, and none of us are privy to the questions or the answers that are coming through.
Is it a group?
I think so. With the 5 of us, we should. We're going to hive mind this.
Good luck, Dash.
All right, question number 1. Contractz last appeared at Worlds 6 years ago. Which 2 international players have a longer gap between Worlds appearances? Hint, both played in Worlds last year.
Oh, no.
They played at Worlds last year?
They played at Worlds last year, and they had more than a 6-year gap between the previous time.
So it would have had to have been before 2016.
And I'm going to be pretty meta and think that's an LCS
That's exactly right. So it would have been somebody who played 2015 or prior
LCS player?
in terms of Worlds.
Just for it to be topical.
Okay.
Well, it's topical because the contract point.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that.
This is
It's
gonna,
international.
so something's going to get us here.
No, not Def.
Someone's going to be in a
They just
minor
gave us an updated hint here.
Oh, no.
Not only did they play in last year's Worlds, but they were also on play-in.
That's what I thought it was going to be. So it's like you're like thinking about BRTT and stuff now. Like who was
like,
in the early stages of the tournament?
Def definitely, right? When was the last time Def made Worlds?
Oh,
before
Def
this?
might be one.
Yeah, because
that was a play-in tournament.
EDG.
Yeah, he played through DRX through play-ins.
But EDG was like 2015 when Def made it there. So that's a longer gap than Contractz.
No,
that's
no, so that would work.
So that would actually
so
work.
that's
I got one. Okay,
all right, Deft, we'll lock that in, but we need the other.
It's going to be.
Oh, I don't know is not an option.
It could be an option. It's always an option.
Well, we can get 50% on the first question.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Do we want another
there's
hint?
a second hint.
Second hint?
So we
Oh,
second
there's a
hint.
second hint?
Okay. Second hint is
one player was from TCL and one player was from City
Holy
Holy
Phoenix.
Holy Phoenix, and we now know that it's not Deft.
And I mean,
yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure he made it with China one.
Revolta maybe? No.
Revolta didn't play.
Who was on the Brazilian
know
team
this.
last year?
We're getting exposed right now.
Yeah.
It's a blur.
Oh, it was
Dash,
probably
I did the
Tinones.
play-in.
Tinones.
Yeah, I
Pretty
remember
good
that.
call.
Tinones and Holy Phoenix.
Okay.
Tinones and Holy
Yeah.
Phoenix.
All right. Tinones and Holy Phoenix. Are we correct, production?
It's cheating. We bit. Oh.
Yeah!
I mean, we got it with the hints.
Let's
so
go.
we don't get full points, but we still got points.
I bet no one else here got it. It was
That
just
was a
us.
hard question.
No one else for
And
sure.
also, we're cheating. We have a CB extra,
Yeah.
basically, Emily.
That was good. That was good. Do we have another one, production? You got another question
Is
for
it
us?
just the one
That's
question?
it. One question test.
What?
We utterly failed it.
We passed it.
What?
It was a hard test.
We passed with him.
They're going to grade us on a curve. They're going to grade us on a curve. I believe it. Yeah.
Can you imagine if that was how school exams were? It's just like you got this one question.
One question.
This is it. That's
Did you
it.
get it
Some
wrong?
random
We all
esoteric
failed.
knowledge. You must not know anything if you don't know that one.
A whole semester, all for this. Yeah. Okay, well, back to the topic at hand then, which is the 2 teams that will take to the stage today, NRG and Team Liquid. We'll start on the NRG side, but I want to talk about how these teams came to be, both, the cores that make them up, as well as the more recent additions that have brought them, to that point that they're at right now.
It's really cool to see the double sin gaming like we were pointing
Yeah.
out last time they played at Worlds. This is going back to 2017. And you can see that a lot of them are journeymen. They're people who have played on tons of different organizations. IgNar, most notably, never sticking for more than a year on a single organization.
And something I want to point out about Palafox specifically is he goes from amateur and then academy. Like, he's pretty much consistently in academy while all of these other players are at least getting the chance. Like, I know Dhokla got bumped up while he was on Optic. So he didn't really get the chance until FlyQuest to go up, and that's the first time that someone actually recognized that he could be LCS caliber.
That's the thing. You always need that one person that believes in you and puts you in that right circumstance. Like, looking at Dhokla's circumstance, it's a tough one. Like, when he was on Optic and found himself out, you went through Academy, he went through Amateur in a really unfortunate situation with Solafide, then goes on towards Team Liquid Academy, and then finds that basically opportunity on CLG Academy to finally be on this roster and people recognizing the strength that he has. So it's like that journey, you're always just kind of like that one moment off from retiring. From like saying, you know what, screw it, this effort's not worthwhile. But they stuck to it, they went through the gulag, and then found themselves here today.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of credit that should be given to the organization that is CLG that has now become NRG, because you look at that chart, and almost every year, a player is moving somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I definitely feel like, especially League of Legends esports, is just so reactionary. You have a couple bad weeks, and now we need to change players.
Yeah.
And Contractz had a lot of bad weeks. And Dhokla had some bad weeks. And Palafox had, you know, a bad playoffs. But they stuck together and have now reached a higher high than at any point in their 2 years together.
I think that's the coolest thing for me is the preservation pulling off, the fact that you had to go down to Academy for multiple of these guys or bounce around teams so often before finally finding the synergy, and it came with a lot of hard work. This is the first time that NRG has had this big playoff run, even though Contractz and Palafox have been together now for, this is their 4th split. So it didn't just come overnight once, it's the right group of guys. It was the right group of guys plus a lot of working together.
And you, like, teams can get so heavily criticized for not swapping out players when they aren't performing like up, especially up to community expectations, as we saw Contractz highlight reel here. Palafox is probably going to smurf on some people. This is from the last time they met TL, actually, I believe. They've both been such instrumental parts of their playoff success.
I mean, the point is, right, that their careers have not been all roses.
Yeah.
But what we're taking a look at here, Raz, is what that time to marinate, you know, for lack of a better word, that they've been given as a core has finally netted NRG as an organization to pick up the CLG roster and make a run to the losers final here and a possible domestic title to boot.
Let it marinate long enough, it tastes good. Specifically, I think a lot of those clips remind me of, as you can see, those 3 players, how long they stuck together.
Yeah.
You mentioned it in the green room, Jad, like they're so close to beating Lira, Apollo, and Hakuho.
They really are. The number of days, just delay finals another week. Like, let's get these guys to number 2 before.
Keep it going.
I especially these 3 have developed a very interesting bond because we've shot features with Dhokla and Palafox where they seem like they're just bickering at each other.
Yeah.
Yet we do the stage interview after they were successful in qualifying for the finals weekend here. And you can tell there's a sense of camaraderie that only actually happens when you spend that much time going through it with each other, right? Having the ups and downs. So I really love watching the story of these guys.
Being a fly on the wall and watching them watch their own like highlights and lowlights
and also
was
watching
amazing.
them watch us now react and say that we're each other. That was a good shot.
And they're like, no, we actually do all hate each other.
No, but I think that's a strength of really good teams is the ability to actually legitimately criticize your teammates and have them be able to kind of brush that off and not take it personally, or initially take it personally and then step back and be like, okay, no, I need to work on this. Let's work through it.
Because that's improvement. You need to be on the same vision. I feel like whenever I hear other teams talk about NRG, it's like, oh, they have the same vision of the game. And it's mostly just because they have those hard conversations. One of those conversations in the content that we had was like Contractz talking about how he wants to play the line a little bit more. And they're like, you know what, I agree with the coaches. I think we just need to calm down. But in some of those replays, you see the tie to it all together is Contractz working with lanes extremely well. Working with Palafox and getting leads there. The first game in the series that they had with Team Liquid where he gets Dhokla a lead and they keep that lead. You don't get that unless you guys are just together through a long period of time.
And from NRG to Team Liquid, I mean, an organization, a titanic organization within the league, but therefore comes with the expectation of delivering results. And so while CoreJJ has been this massive mainstay for the organization, you see obviously a slew of changes coming into this year.
I think the craziest thing to me is just we think of NRG as being a young team, but half these guys weren't even playing professionally when this graphic started.
This is the young team.
They are actually the young team. 10th grade for Yeon and APA.
Grade?
Pyosik was just a streamer at that point. He wasn't even playing professionally when Contractz was at Worlds last time, and so was IgNar. It's actually only CoreJJ who has this storied career in not just LCS, but across the world in LoL esports. Summit is also a little bit later of a development, not till 2018.
If CoreJJ doesn't think he's old, don't show him this graphic. Just don't show it to him. To me, what was interesting was APA's his trajectory. Like he even saw the M for Maryville. Even seeing his tweet earlier, I'm kind of just the fact he said 8 months ago he was in college, 3 months ago he was in NACL, and he talked about the fact that he was starting playoffs. He's in a damn arena like this, and he's qualified for Worlds. Talk about a big change in your life. That sounds like a dream. So hearing that happen especially even a different story of Summit, somebody who's been an MVP but didn't get to be on this stage domestically. It's crazy to see them all coming together and making it work.
Yeah, and similar to NRG needing time to marinate, while this was a shorter timeline, we really saw TL make a distinct step up, rather, in the playoffs from what they were delivering in the regular season, something we'll come back and talk a bit more about in just a bit. For now, though, we're going to send it down to Gabby, who's standing by with the creator of Run Wild, Thutmose, who will be performing tomorrow's opening ceremony. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Dash. I am so excited to be joined by Thutmose.
Let's go.
Ahead of your performance tomorrow for our opening ceremony. Now, I know this isn't your first rodeo with League of Legends, though, first collabing back in 2019. Can you tell me a bit about your journey with Riot Music?
Man, yeah, it started in 2019 when I got approached to do a song with, True Damage, with Becky G, Yeon, Duckworth, Kiki Palmer. It was such a dope experience, the first really crazy experience I've had, with like Pyro, with the virtual stuff you guys were doing. It was, it's crazy.
Yeah, that performance was insane. There's a really cool kind of mini documentary about it too for anyone that wants to check it out.
Check it out.
Things are a bit different this time around, though. You are performing your original song, Run Wild. Can you tell me a bit about this track and what it's been like hearing it as our Summer Playoffs anthem?
Man, incredible. First of all, just, great for you guys chose that song to be the anthem, feel good anthem, a banger. I remember making that song just and initially didn't want to put it out, but just the energy ever since I put it out was so amazing to see how people resonate with that song, just how, making people feel good. I just love the vibe,
I'm definitely happy that you put it out because it is a good vibe.
Yeah, I'm happy too. It's been a great decision.
It very much embodies kind of what the community looks forward to in playoffs. I know that we have seen some of that community trickling in, the fans of the LCS. Having performed in front of LOL Esports fans on the world stage, you're going to do so tomorrow in front of the LCS audience. What do you have to say about the energy they bring and getting to do so once again in a stadium, a venue such as this one?
Man, the energy is always crazy. The fans are amazing. Last time I wish I could have been in the crowd and everybody was going crazy. So hopefully you guys bring the energy tomorrow. It's gonna be crazy, guys. Get ready.
Yeah, that's right. We need the energy from all y'all.
New Jersey, you ready? You guys ready?
I think they're ready. I think they're ready. And Thutmose, thank you so much for joining me on the stage.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, looking forward
to it, man. Get ready.
For now, everybody, we are going to continue readying up for what we have today. We're kicking it to a break, but as we go, our friends at Red Bull have devised a whole new competition for our fans here in Newark, our Aramalan. Let's go ahead and check it out and catch up with Digon.
What's up, everyone? It's your boy Digon at Red Bull Aramalan here at the Fan Fest at LCS Finals in New Jersey, Prudential Center. Make sure to come swing on by and see this epic 100 PC LAN event where you have the opportunity to win cool prizes like Hextech chests all the way on up to upgraded seats. It's a King of the Hill event. So you come, you win, you stay, and you get to win even more prizes. Come check it out. I've been to a lot of fan fests, but the scale of how much Red Bull has put into this one is epic. Look, there's even a freaking turret. A lot of prizes, a lot of games, and a lot of fun. Make sure to come to Red Bull Aramalan tomorrow here at the LCS Finals Fan Fest. See you tomorrow.
Bringing in a new roommate to save money, is that the plan?
Well, we gotta find some way to save, so say hi to Glenn from work.
Hey, that's my mom.
Yeah, I think I have a much better plan. We switched to my plan from Verizon for just $25 per line.
And that price is guaranteed for 3 years.
All on the network we can count on.
It's a good plan.
It is a good plan. Glenn, looks like we're not gonna be needing you, so I'll see you at work.
Oh, later, Glenn.
Save big with my plan, starting at just $25 when you bring your own phones. Guaranteed for 3 years. It's your Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
Dude, I know these noodles are your specialty, but they are just not hitting tonight.
I know. I want that.
Me too.
It's beautiful.
Breathtaking. Tiramisu.
Is there anything she can't do?
I wish I could reach into the TV and grab that fancy cake for you, but I've recently learned that's not how TVs work. Go for what you really want. Go for Grubhub.
We live with a genius.
Go for cravings. Go for Grubhub.
You know what? I would like to incline to believe you, but TL are going to make sure that they are not the ones giving FlyQuest a win.
Yeon is playing rock, paper, scissors with someone in the crowd.
During game 5's pause, I was really bored, so I was like, I need to keep my energy up before I fall asleep. So I was just trying to do something fun.
I asked Licorice if he wanted to play, but he declined. He was scared.
Fighting together. Good job, APA. Thanks, bye. How many? Nice. Trigger. Nice.
The defending champ arriving to the arena. Oh, give it. Hit him. Oh! The haymaker.
Giga Chad. Let him cook. Oh, that's supposed to be Cloud9. Okay, that was supposed to be Cloud9.
The Wukong emotes. Like there's like an emote where like...
Welcome back to the LCS Championship Weekend delivered by Grubhub. A great look at the personality that came out of Team Liquid all throughout this split. What a joy of a team to watch. But we wanted to take a look at something and a slightly different angle, right? Some people love words, some people love pictures. So I've tasked both Emily and Mark with helping us understand maybe the expectations of either of these rosters coming into the year and the reality of the teams that we had seen. And this is a quick reminder of where these teams were at the end of just the spring split a few months ago. The bar that was set going into summer.
Yeah, it was a very surprising 8th place finish for them, the fact that they didn't make playoffs.
Yeah.
That team was constructed with 2 MVPs, 2 world champions, and yes, 2 rookies, but still, you would have expected more out of that team. So for me, the expectations were not met.
Well, now by contrast, you have NRG.
Here we go. I was about to say, we got to get Mark.
I was like,
So here's what your expectation was.
Yeah, so my
summer.
after that finish in spring, my expectation was weird because I was just looking at them. They only made 1 change, which was their head coach getting moved out. It didn't feel like a big change. I was like, that was a bit of a train wreck in spring, so I wasn't expecting much. But then APA subs in, and the reality is so much better. It's Drake.
Drake?
Oh! It was great.
That actually looks like you, too.
I got the sweater on. I matched him for this one.
True.
Yeah, it just it came together way better than I thought. They always said that they were a summer split team. APA coming in, I think, was the final step of the process of getting to a point where they could make a finals weekend. The fact that they had very consistent late game carry threat. So I was very happy with that.
Okay, so that's TL.
Yes.
Now, Emily, paint me a picture. Paint me an emote picture of NRG.
So NRG, you saw, they stuck with this roster core. We talked about how... I love the Hollywood. So I cheated a little bit because I was like, okay, I feel like expectations were like mid.
Yeah.
But then after the first few weeks, this team, actually, I think they had the first 3 weeks, were all 1 and 2. And we were just like, okay, it's over. Like, the new bot lane didn't work out. Is this team gonna do anything? So it's very hot. I love this emote. Raz, what do you want to say?
I was like, at what point do you do this? Is it after they beat like Cloud9 in the regular season? After they lose to IMT during the regular season?
It was like specifically like week 3.
Okay.
When they were 3 and 6.
Okay. Yeah, when they were looking really rough.
Time to pack it up.
And now the reality, I still am kind of mean about this, I think. It's still Prage, because the thing I love and loathe about NRG is that you can see such amazing high highs from this team, not just in terms of like individual performance, but in their actual like map movements and understanding. And then the next game, they will just flip Baron for no reason, or their setups will suddenly be really bad. And I'm just like, what happens between game to game? Because you obviously have not only the talent, but the coordination and like the knowledge to be able to be a top LCS team.
You know what the bad P word is? It's potential. And like prepping for this event, I listened to a Travis interview that started the beginning of the year when they were still with CLG, and Palafox was talking about the fact that, hey, like we have a high ceiling. He believed in the ceiling, constantly. So like there was always a conversation within the squad. I love that potential is always tied to CLG and now it's tied to NRG, and they're still doing that thing where you can see how good they really are, beating the top teams. But then it's like, can you keep that consistency? That's the question.
And that's always been the thing, right? You beat the teams above them, lose to the teams below. But that's what makes you believe that at some point, if they can break through that ceiling, they really are meant to do great things. And while we talk about high highs, there is one player who will be stepping on stage today who has experienced the highest of highs, our reigning world champion in Pyosik.
Yeah, and the big thing to revisit for Pyosik, as we saw from that initial like TL roster journey, right? He was a streamer, picked up for his talent in 2022. LCK finished 6th in summer, and then they lost to Live Sandbox in the first round of playoffs. Their regional run through LCK was super unexpected. That very same team that they lost to, Live Sandbox, was the expected seed. Instead, it was DRX. He still was splitting time with Juhan, their other jungler, and then became a world champion and was a really crucial part of it. In my opinion, just because his mental fortitude was so strong. Then obviously we just finished talking about TL, finished 8th this past spring, finished 4th in LCS Summer, and his newfound synergy with APA, despite the fact that they don't speak the same language. It's a very like classic, but they both speak League of Legends in the same way, and it's worked out super well for them. And then obviously Pyosik saying, I've been here before, I've been on an unexpected team before, and now I'm ready to make another run.
APA's love language is mid lane ganks, and I think Pyosik understood that from the word go.
Did you see the tweet from yesterday where he locked him in the shower?
No, I did. I completely missed that. That's amazing. All right, so a little dis-synergy at the start of the weekend then, I guess. Either way, reigning world champions stepping on stage. It's not the first time that we've had world champions make the trip across to the LCS.
It is the first reigning world champion, though.
Yeah.
Every other world champion has come at least 1 year removed from that title. For Pyosik, he came over during that time period. And of the world champions who have come over, only CoreJJ has taken a title. So it is actually a heavy crown.
Free pass to success.
No.
And I think that's been proven. And I think part of this with CoreJJ being the first former world champion to come in and win a split in his first LCS season has helped actually set expectations, I feel like, for the team, that it's going to be a process. He says to everyone, LCS is actually not as easy as you think when they come over, because there's a lot of challenges in order to succeed here, and CoreJJ and Pyosik are going for it again.
Yeah, and just taking a look at that list, the one that came out to me, I still don't remember Looper in the league. It still is one name.
Echo Fox, he was great.
Like, they have a lot of top laners, but you're right. It's like, if you come in with that skill that people expect you to showcase back when you were like a world championship, being able to maintain that is the difficulty of it. And also being able to work in the American culture, work with your teammates, which is also just the next hurdle. It always kind of makes it harder for players. And honestly, Pyosik had that in his first split. He had a pretty awful first split, but the development that he had in the second split working with his players, his lanes, I mean, has just been incredible.
Yeah, now one of the benefits, one of the things working in the favor for guys like CoreJJ and Pyosik is the fact that they've played in the highest pressure matchup imaginable in a world final before. But there are a number of players who are about to step into a stadium for the very first time as players, and that's the kind of pressure that we talk about. We don't know how is going to affect certain individuals. For some, it makes them better. For others, right, we start talking about those shaky hands and how they're going to react when things aren't going their way early on. 5 across both of our teams here will be playing in a stadium for the first time today.
Yeah, both these teams have a lot of people who it's going to be their first time in a big venue, like you said. Summit is, I think, a surprise for a lot of people, given that he has bounced around so many regions and played very well in those regions, but not actually played in a finals event thus far. So it is a moment for him. I think of the people on this screen, though, probably not the one who's going to be the most affected by the adrenaline. I think we talked about APA, but also Dhokla and Palafox are able to feed off of energy, it feels like, that we saw quite a bit in this postseason run.
That's the thing. I love that you said adrenaline, because for some players, it's nerves. I don't expect nerves here, where people are playing worse or playing safer. I expect them to be playing maybe a little too aggressive. That's the thing for me. Summit's been doing it, and Scrim's been doing it on stage. I don't expect him to stop in terms of just playing to his limit, so I think he's going to be just fine. But as you're seeing the players come out now, you can already hear the chants from the crowd backing them.
Plenty of energy in this arena already. 26 minutes away from the opening ceremony and bringing these players on to do battle. We talk about the veterans on the TL side, the world champions. It's not like NRG is without veteran players of their own, Jet. FBI, IgNar, the 2 major additions to the roster this year. I think this is where they can really serve their team in showcasing that experience and being leaders.
Yeah, the last time CoreJJ was in an LCS final, FBI beat him. And then FBI went to Worlds in 2021 summer. And I think this was one of the quietest improvements that NRG made throughout the continuity of their roster, was actually bringing in FBI and IgNar, because even though it started rough in the summer split, throughout the playoffs, FBI has been rock solid. He's very reliable in lane. He's incredibly clutch in team fights. And I think he needs to give them a steadiness, and then IgNar needs to give them that psycho engage energy that a lot of players aren't capable of doing, because they're worried about what's going to go wrong on the biggest stage. And I think it's really bringing together this NRG team very well.
Yeah, something that brings a lot of veterancy for them. The fact that IgNar has not won a championship domestically, but he has played in a number of really high stakes games before, so you don't expect him to be too nervous. Whereas FBI, you kind of hinted at it, but he has low-key been incredible the last 2.5 years. He's been to 4 out of the last 5 finals, I believe it is, or 3 of the last 5, excuse me.
He made 3 consecutive on 100 Thieves.
Then missed 1, then came back for this one. So 4 out of the last 5, there we go. And he also went to 2 Worlds. So he is someone who has played on really, really big stages before.
Well, we've got our 10 players on stage getting set up to do battle. It's time now for us to recognize our 2023 LCS Summer Regular Season MVP. It's JoJo Pyun.
JoJo. Means that they're looking for this mid turret right before the dragon. Contractz gets caught
over the wall, back into the dragon pit. Unforgiven trying to join him, but the accelerated shock blast coming in from JoJo gets the first kill of the EG. Now.
Knockup. JoJo has joined though. Back up here for revenge. JoJo just shredding through the TSM members. You lose your top laner, but I think the mid laner's more than enough to answer. That's one down with the rocket jump reset. Give him the double. Forge got to slow down the fight, but it's still an numbers advantage. And JoJo killed body slam flash. Oh my god, it's beautiful from Evil Geniuses. Decimating smash on top of it as well. Oh, but he ends the shock blast. Burning the platform. Call the Forge God, but our flash is over, and nice interrupt from JoJo. The body slam denies the ultimate. Palafox is teleported back, but the jungler's already dead. Double kill for the mid laner. The Viego walk right past them. They're trying to take out Azael. JoJo can absolutely just destroy Toby. JoJo already showing what he can do when he's at the top of his game. Oh, what a beautiful wombo! Explosive cast into the CC bounce house. Well, here we go. They don't want to give him no opportunities now. JoJo leads the engage, and Quinn is already in the dirt.
I am so excited to be here with our MVP of Summer 2023, EG JoJo Pyun.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know, I won MVP, but like, it feels weird because I'm not here, you know, I'm not here playing, so it feels like ass, but, you know, it happens, I guess.
Does it also feel a little weird because everyone kind of started talking to you about MVP at the start of the split, it feels like? You've been kind of approached about this for quite some time, but now it is official. It is still an accolade to be proud of, regardless of the other circumstances of being here.
I mean, I'm definitely proud of winning MVP, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, if I win MVP in the regular season and I'm not here in the finals, it doesn't really matter to me. So this is like kind of a wake-up call for me next split to really win, you know?
I think part of a wake-up call, obviously there's the things you're looking on and kind of wanting to get right back to the stage, but there's a lot of positives to take away from what allowed you to play consistently and hopefully come to the stage again. What do you think it is about the off-season Korean boot camp and your application that did earn you this consistent award, something that shows what you were able to do in the regular season and future stages to come?
I mean, I think the boot camp really helped me, but also I think playing with my new teammates really helped me because I had to like become a leader and kind of lead the team. So I feel like I really evolved in that sense. So I really think I learned a lot this split.
Yeah, you were put into a leadership position really early in your career. I think sometimes it's easy to forget how quickly it has happened because you've already gotten so many accolades. Is there something in particular when playing around those teammates, when working into being a leader, that sticks with you as kind of that off-the-riff skill that's really developed?
I mean, you really have to be like calm and stable off the game, and you really have to be like not emotional at all. So it's pretty hard, but you know, it's something that I got a lot better at, and yeah.
And I'm sure that's something that you'll be leaning into in future performances. There's just so much discussion around your performance specifically. I know North American mids, for instance, that's been rising a lot. We've got a couple of them taken to the stage today, but it feels like it was ignited by you as this protege coming in. Do you have any thoughts on that discussion and kind of what you ignited in it specifically?
I mean, it's pretty crazy because it could have been 3 NA mids playing at this arena, but you know, I messed up, so it's my fault, but people that say like NA mids are not good or whatever, I mean, if you look at it today, there's 2 NA mids playing right now, and they have a lot of potential, so you guys have to cheer for them.
And I'm sure a lot of fans have confidence that you will be joining as well at some point in the stage in the future. You've done so in the past. Do you want to give a little prediction on today, or are you kind of just chilling, sitting back?
I don't even know, like, honestly, I feel like both teams can win it. I think whoever just plays better on the day, I think they're pretty even in skill. But if I have to cheer for someone, it'd probably be NRG.
So blessings. There are others on that side. I can see in your eyes, I feel like you're already focused on the competition to come, readying yourself up for the future. But what do you have in this moment reflecting for all the fans that have supported you, for those of you that have gotten to this point, what do you want to say to them about this moment and what is to come?
I mean, to all the fans that's been supporting me, like, I truly appreciate you guys. I mean, I wish I could be playing here today and winning for my fans, but I mean, next time I'll be here for sure.
I'm so glad that you're able to come and join us on the stage here today in this capacity, JoJo. Congratulations again on your MVP.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let that sink in and bring that away with you after this weekend as well, the chants from the audience.
This feels great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Good feelings here on the stage. Thank you, fans. Let's go back to our analysts and get on with the show.
Thank you so much, Gabby. JoJo Pyun rightfully being showered in the MVP chants for his performance in this split, and I think a lot of his answers speak directly to his competitive mindset, right? You know, in talking about what he expects of himself, while still appreciating the accolades, saying, you know, I hold myself to the standard of if I'm an MVP, I'd be playing in this finals, and so we know that that's what he's gunning for in future splits as well.
Yeah, I mean, every time you talk to him, he always talks about how he wants to push himself to international competition. So obviously, even though that didn't happen this time, it is amazing for his MVP. Like, I believe he had an MVP performance. I voted for him, so congratulations to him.
There's also a conversation, too, around the rise and fall of MVPs. This, it's a fickle beast, the game of League of Legends, right? And how you can go from the very tippy top and fall precipitously at times. And so I do want to talk about Summit. Jat, tell me something about Summit.
Tell me something about Summit.
You know, the last time we had an MVP interview where the guy didn't make it to finals weekend, it was Summit.
There it is.
But since that point, I think even though Summit hasn't won another MVP, he has actually grown as a player. And I think that is shown from what happened in the regular season, where it seemed like he hadn't changed at all because he was still getting ahead in almost every game, but then almost never being able to convert a goal lead of 14 minutes into victory. That has actually changed in the playoffs. As a team, they actually haven't been up nearly as much. Summit's still up in early game, but specifically, they're actually able to win games through Summit. Part of that is because he's just playing more connected with the team after laning phase. He led the league by a wide margin in isolated deaths through the regular season, and so far in the playoffs, even though it's still a lot of isolated deaths, it's decreased, and they've been able to play more through his leads to actually win games.
I think that's the big thing, is no one's ever doubted his laning capacity, but even in the episode of the dive we just did with Fudge, he said he didn't respect him out of lane that much because he gave away the leads too often, but that is the biggest thing I think that's changed. The leads have maintained in playoffs, but he hasn't given them away as much.
And it also speaks to a little bit of how this TL team has shifted, right? From having this insane laning phase early, but now in a lot of their wins, they've been doing it through late game team fighting.
And I'm also just not certain that you can solely attack Summit and expect that that be your pathway to victory as it had been executed in the past, most notably in that postseason just a bit ago. Now, Newark, we do have a bit of a mystery on our hands here. Last year at Worlds, just across the river at Madison Square Garden, Travis Gafford challenged fans with one simple question. Can you name this pro player?
Excuse me, sir. Hello. For $5, who is this pro player?
Oh my God, are you a pro player, man?
Hello, hello. For $5, who is this pro player?
I play mid in LCS.
All right. Thank you. Hello. Okay, for $5, who is this pro player?
I have no idea.
Diamond? Okay, all right. Hi. For $5, who is this pro player?
Boy.
Okay, for $5, who is this pro player?
Something Fox. Palafox?
Yes, okay, congratulations. You get $5. For $5 for either of you, who is this pro player?
I don't know.
Excuse me, sir, hello. For $5, who is this pro player?
Palafox.
Oh!
I don't need $5. You're chilling, brother.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me, sir. For $5, who is this pro player?
I can't help. Diamond.
Nope. Okay.
What Palafox?
Excuse me, for $5, who is this pro player?
I'm so sorry. I'm an LCK fan.
No hard feelings.
Thank you. Hello. Hi. For $5, who is this pro player?
CLG Palafox.
Hey, congratulations.
$5. Woo!
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay.
Amazing. That was only a year ago. So remember this man, right?
Yeah.
He is wanted because he's better than an NA mid is supposed to be. He's been criminally underrated. He's part of the reason JoJo isn't here. He sent JoJo to the lower bracket, and people got to learn his face. It's time.
There is no longer an excuse at Worlds this year if Travis Gafford comes up to you and asks for this man's name, for you to not know who that man is. Learn his name.
Say his name.
Say his name, Palafox. He has had such a long and winding road, though, to reach his first finals weekend. I think we should actually just hear from the man himself on what it's taken to get to this point in his journey.
My journey through Academy has been like very long. I spent quite a long time in Academy. I feel like I didn't really get any chances. And then finally, I would say that when I joined FlyQuest, it's still like I'm joining a team that didn't have the tools to make their players better or even get to Worlds. So it's just like, I feel like I've had just such a rough time. And I think that, you know, sticking through it, like pushing through time and time again, especially like joining CLG with pretty much like myself, 3 rookies and like Contractz, it's like just being able to get here, like through all that is like really special.
I think for him, one of the things is that his journey kind of came out of nowhere. He was part of that famous 2017 scouting grounds, but he is only noteworthy afterwards because he was the last pick of the 20-person draft that goes on to select the teams that get made. He was kind of Mr. Irrelevant. He came from solo queue. No one really knew anything about him, and they left relatively impressed, but not enough to give him a starting spot. And he had to grind away for 3 straight years in the academy, trapped in academy prison, not able to get a starting spot. And then when he finally got it, it wasn't even that great of an opportunity with this kind of makeshift FlyQuest roster that didn't achieve anything.
And he would always turn heads, as you mentioned. It felt like when he was on, especially when he was on Cloud9 Academy, and people recognized his strengths.
That's when he got that nickname.
The Palafaker name was one thing. The fact that he was able to play side lanes on multiple assassins, specifically LeBlanc, was another one. And we got his first chance on FlyQuest, as he mentioned. The fact that the team really wasn't built to really support him really sucked. Because there are a lot of players that get one chance, and if it's doomed, your career is doomed. And it didn't happen for him.
Yeah, I mean, every single breakpoint in color on that graph was an opportunity for him to give up, right? But perseverance was the name of the game for him, and to stick through it until he got the right opportunity with the right set of people to show his stuff and prove that he deserves to be in this finals weekend, making a trip to Worlds as well. Now, opposite him is a young gun of a mid laner in APA. And while a journey, a much shorter one at that, Emily, for him to get to his first finals weekend. Let's talk about it with a little bit of Draw My Life.
Yeah, let's go. Draw my LCS and CLOL and NACL life, APA. Ian APA Stearns began his LoL career on myriad amateur teams. He was also known for his Aurelion Soul. Although fans lean into APA from Avatar to cheer APA on, APA actually stands for Always Plan Ahead. APA actually participated in 2 scouting grounds in 2020 and 2021, but was not picked up by any LCS org either time. People really began to take note of APA when he was on Maryville in 2022. He was then picked up by TL for 2023 NACL. After coming in as a sub mid-split, APA has become a key part of TL's playoff success. And I think the thing I wanted to stress, I believe it was Jensen Go, his coach at Maryville, who said during these scouting grounds, people would be like, I want anyone but APA. Like other coaches would be like, no, he's a Aurelion Soul one trick, his champion pool isn't too big, and he has grinded so hard. Like that's how we got rank 1 in Champions Queue, got the cool helmet, if you've seen the helmet gif of him dancing, courtesy of Kangas. And I think that is the cool thing about his story and how that's where it kind of mirrors Palafox, right? Because he absolutely had to grind to get people to take notice of him and recognize his talent.
I think it also speaks to just how important it is to have a good opportunity in your first games. The fact that he came into TL, which was a team with, you know, very strong players around him. They had great early games. It wasn't like he had to come in and be a huge carry threat. They needed stability out of him. But then he started to work his own unique champions to help redefine Team Liquid.
I'd say he is also a very non-standard professional mid laner.
Yes.
Because even though he has expanded his champion pool, it's not the champions. They're banning Jace every game. He's playing Ziggs, Cassiopeia, and Neeko, champions that barely anybody else is playing. So they're making it work. He's actually excelling on these picks, especially in team fights, but he's just a very unique player.
I just love the story of the fact that CoreJJ says, like, we didn't really know how to play, like, with Ziggs or what Zig did.
Turns out Ziggs is broken.
Exactly. It's like, hey, Ziggs is broken. And also just, like, I just loved, if you have a new player, making it so he is as comfortable as humanly possible by picking what works for him. So he might end up picking an Aurelion Sol. I love that fact when you are kind of like the X factor for the enemy team. They don't know what to necessarily ban if you have a pretty big champion pool. Yes, there are going to be certain champions that you're like, at least we know he can't play Azir or is not willing to play Azir. That's going to be like a positive for them. But, well, what will he play? So, especially with the proficiency that he has in those champions, it's nice to see.
And he's a part of that wave of NA mids that is surging back into the limelight. You heard JoJo talking about it in the interview. While he had hoped to make it 3 North American mids, at least 2 North American mids are playing in this finals weekend and going to Worlds. The last time that part happened, 10 years ago. 10 whole years ago. This is a blast from the past when it comes to mid laners from North America going over to Worlds.
Yeah, 2013 class with ManCloud, Reggie and High. They definitely make some plays. ManCloud helped create the Dottie Award, if people remember that one, where they were able to boom him out of that group stage. It was a historic time.
I remember that time. Like, basically, if he was roaming, he's getting the kill.
It's Smithy, man.
That's true. And so I really enjoyed it. And it's fun to be able not just see that class of North American mids rise up again, but the flair they bring, man. JoJo is one that was on stage. APA, like, the smack talk that he has, the emote game that he has, like, to give him that confidence. We need more of that in the league.
All right, well, with just about 8 minutes to go till game time, I do want to hone back in towards the matchup. As I mentioned at the top of the show, this is a rematch of the first best of 5 for each of these teams in the postseason here for the LCS, but it feels a little bit different. I want to talk about how we expect each of these teams, Emily, I'll start with you, to match up here today.
Well, and Jat mentioned the Jace. It was going up against Palafox in their series earlier in this playoffs where he lost both sides of the Jace Tristana matchup to Palafox. Palafox has actually been making a lot of his mid opponents look pretty rough. In talking to APA after this, he actually said, he was like, yeah, I was really nervous. That one's on me. I'm going to be so much better going into this rematch.
And that's the thing. In that series, APA had some good moments. That solo kill into Syndra was one big one. There are moments in team fights where he was jumping in aggressive. You don't necessarily see that from players in their first kind of playoffs experience. And you even heard after the series from Palafox, he was giving credit to APA and telling, hey, it's his first playoffs series, like, give him time. And then when he went down that lower bracket, you saw the beauty in it. So it's nice to see it, obviously. You're going to see the grief within the 1v1s. That happens.
I got to say, APA did not play well in that series.
Yeah, he choked a bit.
I feel like Palafox saying, hey, this guy did good, was to maybe protect someone who'd been in that situation before, where you got slammed and you were the reason your team lost. Like, I legitimately think that was his worst series in the playoffs. It's the worst we've seen APA play in the LCS, but that can be a good thing because he's improved since that point. We don't know what he's going to do.
And it was a wake-up call for how they were approaching the game. It was, let's lean into our strengths. Let's stop trying to play the Jace Trist either side of the matchup and pretend that that's what we're going to be best at. It's about getting him on his playmaking champions. He doesn't actually really want a ton of ganks. He wants to combo around the map and make things happen. And I think that's what he's best at. And they said, why are we playing this way? And in their losers bracket run, they have had to learn how to make his champion pool work in the playoffs.
And to that end, if we consider that series the low point of their postseason, you start tracking the series from that point onward, and look how much better it gets against everybody else. There is marked improvement out of this team.
Yeah, a small point that I wanted to make from the players when they talk about their lower bracket run, like, they talk about now that we have a vision in how we see the game, that, like, we had that conversation, and now, like, Pyosik saying that he feels like he has a place on how the early game goes. So it's like, if you now have a clear vision, especially when you go up against NRG, it makes it so much easier, and just take a look at the stats.
Yeah. What's interesting to me about Team Liquid in playoffs overall is that they're not winning the same way they won in the regular season. The regular season, they were this juggernaut early game team who were headless chickens in the mid game. But now, actually, they're not blowing people out in the mid game. Part of that is because they're picking better team fight scaling compositions. But the other part is they've just legitimately improved their mid and late game. They've won a lot of these games from even states, which was unheard of during the regular split.
I think they've also been better about everyone having their moments to step up. Yeon had incredible Kai'Sa games. You had the Pyosik pentakill, obviously, on Viego, and he was just slamming that champion in the first phase when worldwide, Viego is not like this super high prio pick. And so the entire team is kind of jiving right now.
They're legitimately winning in team fights now and look like they have been better at it. They've talked about it during the regular season. You see some switchy, like, iffy areas. These times, I remember the game versus 100 Thieves where they were legitimately behind in the game and Summit finds a great flank on Jax. Those type of moments where you're like, oh, so you were able to claw games backward. Ordinarily, that's not the case. Like, you needed to have those major leads to be able to secure them. So it's nice to see that level of development.
A young fan in the crowd. Love to see those smiles. Mark, you mentioned Yeon, and we'd be remiss not to, to talk about him just a little bit and the expectations that might be set on him for today. Rookie of the year, but going up against FBI, who we had talked about, is one of the more experienced players on this team and has generally become a rock for NRG. Yeon has to take him down.
Yeah, it's a tough task because FBI has broken out a handful of unique champions. He was one of the first people in North America to play the Ezreal in the postseason. He picked up the Sivir as well, and so when you're trying to get an advantage in the bot lane, it can be a little tough versus FBI and IgNar, who have a pretty wide champion pool.
It's actually funny, when the Unforgiven was talking about this, kind of talking about what's a harder bot lane for him to play against, he talked about IgNar and FBI, personally, even though everybody in the league would say how strong of a laning phase CoreJJ and Yeon have, just how undersold. Someone unban this man, first of all.
Are we sure?
Check his chat.
I was going to say, do the due diligence first, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, look at those chat logs, and then we'll consider it.
He's trying to defend himself there a little bit. But yes, it's great to see basically how undersold FBI has been, and during this playoff run, he has been exceptional.
Alrighty, it's about that time where I put you all on the record for who you think is going to take this series. Move on to face Cloud9, our #1 seeded final boss, awaiting in the Winners' Championship tomorrow. Mark, I'll start with you.
Okay, we'll see what the production actually runs here. It should say NRG 3-2.
You don't even know?
Well, my predictions have been a little funky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. NRG 3-2. I'm leaning into it. I think they're coming from the winner side of the bracket. I think the fact that they played Cloud9 is baiting people into thinking that they are worse than they are, because everyone who plays Cloud9 kind of gets boomed. And I think, yeah, they had a bit of a tough series, but they should have won one of those games. It was a ricochet attack away from winning, and I think that they are better than people think just because their last series was against Cloud9.
Do you actually believe this, Mark?
Yeah,
I think it's Emily's turn to talk. I gave my 2 cents. It's Emily's turn.
I can't tell. All right. I had a really tough time with this because both teams, I think, still have like pretty obvious flaws and the tendency to beat themselves up within a series, right? I did end up sliding into TL 3-2.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be really messy. I can hear myself getting booed. There's the question.
Oh, I was just saying, is that a question mark?
Here's the thing.
3-2?
I actually, yeah. Oh, it actually almost does look like 3-27.
I thought it was 27 at first.
I think the big thing is, in terms of like NRG's actual map movements and coordination in the mid game, even though TL has improved, I actually think NRG are better. But TL, with these late game like team fight comps, seem to be firing on all cylinders as a unit. So that's where I ended up giving them the edge.
I didn't realize we were allowed to include question marks. So I would have maybe started sending in my predictions with everything.
Exclamation point.
Inflect up.
I feel like this accurately shows my confidence in both of these teams to perform cleanly.
I love that.
I've done predictions with decimals this playoff. So
we are breaking the rules.
That's true.
What do you got?
I am in agreement with Emily, but I think for potentially different reasons. I think Summit's going to be a big deal in this series. I think.
That's a funny looking. That's a funny looking agreement.
You agree with Emily?
Are you funny looking agreement right there, Jat?
Which one is telling lies
There
here?
may be a mistake.
I was like, this is the worst bait ever.
No, I'm not flip-flopping this. If we could possibly switch that to Team Liquid 3-2, that would be appreciated. I think Summit's going to be a big deal in this series.
Okay.
And I also don't think APA will get steamrolled as much as he did in the first time that they played. I also continue to feel like the longer that we have to practice in these playoffs, to build throughout the regular season, more of the team's potential or like the team's scrim reputation will manifest itself on stage. And I've been hearing all split.
All right, Raz, get in there. I got 2 who've already flipped the script from the rematch. What about you?
And I just don't trust Mark. I feel like this is just 3 Team Liquid, so I'm going with NRG 3-1. We've seen this matchup already. the weakness of Team Liquid is the strength of NRG.
Palafaker.
Got Palafaker, we got Contractz the GOAT, so I'm just going with them for now.
Woo! You're just calling a repeat of it all before. Fan predictions, I believe we have just enough time to take a look at those and see where everyone else is throwing their weight. A small favoritism towards Team Liquid, but I think that this indicates the closeness of the series, just as we've talked about. 10 seconds to go. It's Team Liquid, it's NRG stepping on the stage to do battle and move on to face Cloud9. Let's meet our teams.
Two squads will clash for the championship qualifier. Let's give them a proper welcome. First up, surging from 8th place in spring, now on the brink of grand finals, a new era forged by rookies, world champions, and a former MVP. They are the Summer Storm Team Liquid! Leading the charge at support, a 2017 world champ and LCS legend who binds and guides the new team, CoreJJ! Alongside him at AD carry, NA talent raised by Team Liquid Academy into the powerhouse of a new generation, now making his LCS Finals debut, your 2023 Rookie of the Year, Yeon! Next up, a force of pure domination in the top lane, crushing 1v1s all season long, the 2022 Spring MVP, Summit! At mid lane, a rookie who always planned ahead and never stopped grinding. The late call up from challengers, making his first finals weekend in his first LCS split. It's APA! And in the jungle, the reigning world champ on the road to another miracle run, refusing to crack under pressure, cause he's been here before. It's Pyosik! And their opponents, year after year of coming so close, powered by their determination and faith in each other, they are finally rewarded. It's NRG! At support, a two-time LCS finalist, seeking his first title, blazing through the battlefield with explosive engages, IgNar! At AD carry, a former LCS champ with killer instinct, raining down the pain on his enemies. Open up, it's FBI! In the top lane, carving his own path and rewriting the narrative. In his first finals weekend, ready to make the big plays. Some call him Dhokla, but in this house, we call him Big Dogs! At mid lane, perennially underrated split after split, driven to rise up and conquer the league's best, defying expectations for his finals weekend debut, Palafox! Finally, after reaching Worlds quarterfinals in his rookie season, it's been 6 long years of blood, sweat, and tears for the long-awaited return of El Contractz! Contractz! Sparks are ready to fly. A clash of thunder and lightning, with the victor taking on the defending champions. Newark, make some noise!
There's only one thing left to do, and that's become the winningest team in North America.
Everybody stand up if you ever had your back against the wall and had to fight back. It's your anthem. My view from the top of the moon. I can see the whole world sitting in my hand, a maze of view. We finna break the rules, and we gon' make them too. I can't fall asleep, I gotta stand tall, that's what a leader do. Follow me, I'm leading you.
If we were to win this final, it will be my 8th title between EU and NA. It would be Cloud9's 3rd in a row. You know, be the 5th for me and Blabber. Oh, it's just not on the job, really.
Hey, we finna turn up, crank up the heat in here, they finna burn up. Told them I'm coming, I'm here. Tell them they time up. I said it once, I'ma say it again. This hit be my year.
There hasn't been that many teams that have won 3 in a row. TL, obviously, I know they've won 3 in a row. TSM won 3 in a row. But honestly, if you think about it, like, those were some of the greatest teams NA's ever seen. It would really put us into like an elite group of teams.
I'm the chosen one, I'm wearing that jacket. I was down, now I'm up.
Clawing their way up here, but Blabber brings the crash down in its first blood.
I do really want to believe that the greatest LCS team had born, and I want to create those teams in this team.
사람들이 저를 뭐 월드 챔피언 별거 없네, 뭐 버스 탔네. 이번 연도에도 계속 그 저평가를 떨쳐내기 위해 지금 계속 증명하는 자리라고 생각을 합니다.
I'm playing with, you know, the best of the best right now. These players that have titles have really come into their own as players, you know, just over the course of their careers. But for me, all of my growth throughout the years have been for this one moment, I feel. All the hard work that I've put in, all the dedication that I've had for the game, I think it's for this one moment. I think this is the year that I'll really become a champion.
Told them crown me, my ring finger got a rock on it, rock on it. I put my head up and told them crown me, my ring finger got a rock on it, rock on it.
There's right now a very big gap between us and the next best team in NA. We work very hard as a team, and if you want to beat C9, you got to work harder than us because you're not better than us.
We beat them twice already in a summer split, and I think it's easy to beat them like 3 more times.
I really want to get back to the finals and beat C9, man. I hate these guys. Like, everyone likes a bit of trash talk, but I just don't really like how cocky C9 is being. I think they are currently the best team, but not by a wide margin by any means.
NRG and TL don't think the gap is that big. That's also what we say when we go to Worlds. And trust me, the gap between TL, NRG, and C9 is big.
They still have the Sivir, they want it in the game. It's 7 seconds left on Fudge. FBI, he took Torment aggro. They shut him down.
If you want to go the long destination, you need to step forward at least 1 step. The winning LCS will be the first step of us proving again. This is why we were the world champion.
Paranoia as he flashes right on top of Yeon. And nice headbutt for CoreJJ.
To finally have that trophy, to finally be able to lift it up, would just mean the world to me. It would prove that all the hard work and dedication that I put into this game has paid off.
Goes in for the kill, and River's gonna be found. Contractz
Contractz takes off Dory off to the side.
Anyone that wins too much becomes the villain at some point. Anyone is always gonna cheer for the underdog, and anyone who plays against C9 is the underdog. That makes C9 the villain. But that's fine. I've been there before. It never stopped me before, and it won't this time either.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the LCS Summer 2023 Finals Weekend. My name is Captainflowers. I am joined by Kobe and Azael here today to bring you TL versus NRG, the final match in the lower bracket and the qualifying match for tomorrow's final going up against C9. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready. I am ready. Being in stadiums filled with League of Legends fans is my absolute favorite thing. You can feel it to the rafters in here.
I love it, man, every single time. It's always good to be back in the big venues, back on the biggest stages. And these two teams, the desk was talking about it before the games, talking about how we have some seasoned veterans, some guys who've been here before, but both rosters also having some players new to that stadium competition.
Absolutely, we have some of those young guys that you would expect that this is maybe their first time, but also Summit 4TL has never gotten to play in a big final like this, despite the fact that he's been around and had so much success in different regions.
And I want to get right into the picks and bans because I feel like both of these teams, having already played their best of 5, there are two really big things they have to work around in pick bans. One is APA for Team Liquid, and the other is top lane, Dhokla for NRG.
And we've already got a hard focus on that mid lane for APA. NRG's first two bans, Ziggs and Cassiopeia, 100% target bans.
They have had to ban from the side of Team Liquid the Jace for 13 games straight, ever since they played NRG and fell at the hands of Palafox. It was such a massive issue, this mid-lane champion pool. And this game, they banned it again. That makes 14 in a row. Also playing some credence up to that top lane I was mentioning with Dhokla, banning out the Renekton, really shrinking down what is already, I feel like, a smaller top lane champion pool than what Summit commands.
And I think so much of the series is going to be about adjustments from the previous series to this one, about what these teams are going to change. NRG's first 3 bans are all targeted bans. They are not banning the meta. It's CoreJJ's Taric. It's 2 picks that APA is really well known for. So they are very much so attacking the player instead of the meta. And I want to see if TL is going to be able to perform on some of those meta picks to take advantage of NRG's strategy.
And that's what it's saying to me for NRG. They're saying, we're the better team. You're just better at throwing curveballs, and we're going to shut that down nice and early. Azir, the final ban for TL in the first half of the draft.
Tristana and Kai'Sa both up here right now, so I wonder what NRG, which direction they're going to go in this time around.
They are going Trist. Okay, so Trist was such a big pick in the previous series, but it was Trist Jace matchups in mid lane over and over again, and Palafox was winning both sides of it. This time, of course, Jace is banned out, and Cassio had been the other answer for APA that he had been playing into Trist, so I'm really curious to see where he's going to go. It feels like in these kind of situations, he's fallen back on Ahri, and I'm curious if he has something new.
Yeah, I think they need to keep him on something with CC, some utility that can bring structure to those team fights. First, we're going to go with this bottom lane, though. They go on the Xayah side instead, even with the Kai'Sa left up here. So you have to think they'll probably try and take away that Rakan, because if you leave it up, IgNar loves Rakan. He will pick Rakan with any AD carry. He does not care. He loves to engage, and that is primary.
Yeah, surprised to see the Xayah picked over the Kai'Sa here, but Team Liquid trusting in what they want to play and the game they want to play. And it's Pyosik saying, all right, you know what? The Rakan can wait. We're locking in the Viego first.
Number 7.
Exactly. Got the first ever LCS jungle pentakill on the Viego in this playoffs. Looking for a repeat of that level of performance. And we'll see if Pyosik can really bring his best today, because I think he has been so good for TL, especially in playoffs, has really been stepping up and showing his worth.
All right, NRG, what are we going to go with? I'm not surprised at all. The fact that the Kai'Sa went through the first 2 rounds, third round here, it's going to be locked in for NRG.
I want to know if they're going to take away the Rakan, because if you don't grab Rakan here, very likely Core is going to grab it for the Xayah Rakan bot lane. Some people do really like Kai'Sa Rakan, to be able to have that as a bot lane duo, to have that engaged for later on, and it would be a denial pick. It's also in IgNar's wheelhouse, so I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, IgNar loves this champion so much. Should be an easy takeaway.
But I feel like leaving that Rakan open, you have to know on Team Liquid's side that NRG's going to want to snatch it away. So I'm curious what they've got lined up to pick into it. What is the answer to deal with the Kai'Sa Rakan to go paired with the Xayah?
Also, if you don't pick up the Cassio here, you have to think that the Cassiopeia would
Cassio's
then...
banned.
Yeah.
So we can't quite do that yet, but they're hovering another one of the trademark picks of APA, the Aurelion Soul. We haven't really got to see a whole lot of that here in summer, but the Neeko, there's one he's not going to shy away from. There's one they're going to lock in for TL.
Yeah, APA's most played pick throughout playoffs has really been going back towards Comfort after they lost that series to NRG, where he was trying to play Tristana, trying to play Jace, was outperformed by Palafox. Has not been dominant in lane on this pick, but has been really good about finding critical engages in the 5v5s, and that's really where APA has been shining for TL.
All right, top lane's got to be big focus right now then. And with Team Liquid having red side, being able to save that counter pick for Summit all the way to the end, I think NRG are really going to have some issues right now. Rumble, Jax, both very big carry threats that you have to worry about if you're going to play weak side top lane yourself, which NRG have played a lot of.
And since we do not have exactly mirrored roles, means we're going to see different sorts of prioritization in the bans here in the second half. Team Liquid getting rid of that Maokai, that powerful zone control jungler. The Rel banned out by NRG. This is another one of those huge engaged champions similar to Rakan, even more popular actually, one of the premier engaged champions in the whole champion roster right now. They want to take that one off the table, and there, another signature pick. This time it's TL, looking at Contractz specifically, saying we know you'll play this, we don't want to deal with it.
And it pairs really, really well with these double marksman comps. You know, it's really effective support of that. I'm going to be interested to see if there's another support ban here. I think Nautilus would make sense to deny that from Core, because Core really does thrive when he's on these hard engaged style champions. Instead, they're going to be banning away the Jax, which obviously would be problematic to get over to Summit. But, you know, my question is just, what are you going to be playing here? Because he can still go towards Fiora, can go towards Gwen, picks like this, if it is going to be something like a blind tank coming out from Dhokla.
And it probably is. NRG needs some frontline, they need some engage to set up these double marksmen that they have for themselves. So Team Liquid can kind of play right into that, knowing what's coming.
Exactly. With the Tristana Kai'Sa duo, you know you've got more than enough damage. So the front line's going to need to be that meatball wall to get in the way of it. Team Liquid, they're going to do exactly what you guys were talking about. They're saying, hey, we want CoreJJ on engage. Yeah, you already took the Rakan. Yeah, you banned the Rel. It's Nautilus locked in.
Sejuani could be a good jungle tank as well for Contractz. You can play into the Viego, no problem. You can always get away from the Viego, and very, very tanky, so can serve that role. I like it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You know, I just wonder, is the melee pairing for Dhokla going to be powerful, right? Because if that is really what you would like, Rumble does give them that power they can play where it's in the top lane. So he's throwing down the gauntlet here a little bit. You don't want to blind to tank against Summit, because Summit will crush you on a Gwen, he'll crush you on a Fiora in that 1v1. So he's going with a super lane dominant pick here, and kind of forcing Summit to have an answer to Rumble, which really people have struggled to find.
I love it, because these are the big questions of this matchup with Team Liquid and NRG, is the top lane matchup and the mid lane matchup. And if Dhokla can come out in game number 1 and have a successful Rumble carry top lane into Summit, then that would do massive things for the series overall. But Summit is an experienced Aatrox player, to say the least, and Aatrox is in a very good state right now, we can say. Very, very powerful with the buffs.
That's one way to put it. This champion is incredibly powerful right now. I've seen a lot of conversation just in the LCS fandom in general. Why aren't we seeing more Aatrox picks? Summit's the kind of guy to not shy away from locking this in to that Rumble that a lot of different players have struggled in multiple different matchups with. I'm excited to see how this goes down.
We also have to see, you know, is Dhokla going to go aggressive? Will he actually swap over to an Ignite? Is he going to stay on TP? Because, you know, if you really want to try to bully this sort of matchup, Ignite can be really, really effective there against an Aatrox.
Man, oh man, Aatrox versus Rumble in the top lane to start it off. Summit has been wrecking lane matchups all split long. Dhokla struggling in some of those. I think this is a good chance to redeem some of that, get back some of that faith in the eyes of NRG fans to be able to take this one the distance and qualify for that matchup tomorrow.
Meanwhile, the mid lane, Palafox, I expect him to be hard pushing on this Tristana and to be one of the big points of strength for NRG to play off of.
And the bottom lanes, we know both of these guys will be looking for those engages all game long. Exactly how we like to see both of them play. These teams are ready to go. Welcome to Summoner's Rift for the first time today, and what I'm personally hoping is going to be 5 games. TL versus NRG. Winner gets to go on for a shot at the LCS trophy tomorrow. Let's see how they're going to start it off. APA already copying his support, getting a little emoting going on in mid lane.
So we do have one question answered. It's going to be TP for Dhokla, so taking the more kind of neutral or defensive approach to playing this top lane.
All right, as the teams stare each other down at level 1, we're going to toss now to the side as Gabby is standing by with NRG's coach, Think Card.
Thank you so much, Captainflowers. I saw Palafox and Contractz were cheesing on the stage. I know everyone is asking, how are you doing with the energy management coming into the stage performance today?
I mean, we're feeling so good. We've already beat them before, so we're feeling confident. We just have to make sure that we don't play too confidently.
Tell me about the confidence in the top lane here, because we saw the Sejuani and the Rumble locked in. You got Aatrox on the opposite side. TP brought through. How's Dhokla specifically feeling into this matchup?
Yeah, we're feeling super confident right now. I mean, our top side is insane. We have Rumble, Sejuani, and Tristana. So we're expecting to have some early pressure. And if we play cleanly, I think we're feeling really good about this game.
All right, we'll see if you can keep it fresh and clean in game number 1. Back to the casters.
I like that NRG are coming into this series with confidence. Remember, in the first round of playoffs, NRG are the ones who sent Team Liquid to the losers bracket and forced Team Liquid on this long road to fight their way back here to finals weekend. But one of the big adjustments, like we were talking about in Champ Select that they made, was to deal with the mid lane. That was such a problem. And they have permanently banned away the Jace for now 14 games in a row since Palafox defeated them on it. And APA seems like he's found a much more comfortable set of champions that he can really provide some structure to team fights for this squad with.
Think Card was talking a lot about confidence, and I'm just so curious to see, how these players are going to adjust in game number 1 in a big venue like this. Will they come out confident? Because to me, both these teams really do thrive in the chaos. They thrive in that aggressive early game. And are they going to be able to maintain that level of aggression? Or, as we see a lot of players do, are they going to take that step back and be playing a bit more passive as they feel it out?
So one thing that I'm going to point out here immediately in bottom lane, difference in summoner spells on your AD carries. It's cleanse for FBI, a heal for Yeon. Heal generally tells me they want to look for some of those early trades, some dominance in lane, because when you look across at NRG's champions, you've got some serious CC threats between the Rakan and the Sejuani. You get caught by one of those later, you're toast. Not going to have enough time to cast a Xayah ultimate to get out of it.
And with both junglers starting a bottom side of the map jungle as well, they're ending their routes up here towards this Rumble Aatrox, pushing lane for the Rumble. That could get very volatile. That ward that Dhokla had, the early ward toward the Tribush, has now timed out. So once Pyosik finishes up with his red buff, we'll see about these two junglers and how they want to play around the top lane. It looks like Contractz is coming through lane to get that extra vision and safety for Dhokla to really help out the Rumble, since you're perma-pushing basically from level 1.
Yeah, the Rumble that, as you just saw on your screen a couple of seconds ago, first time on Rumble for his LCS career for Dhokla, choosing to bring it out here in the big stadium match and really throw down the gauntlet against Summit.
Well, I think that's one of the most fun things about BO5 is seeing the adaptation, the pre-planning for these series. People can look at their previous series. They have so much data between that and all the other series that these two teams have played to really try to prepare what is exactly going to be the best for this series.
Little bit of scrapping up here in topside. Summit making sure to get the most out of those sweet spots as he trades back against the Flame Spitter. This spell and proper management of it is what makes Rumble so difficult to deal with in this lane phase. As long as you don't lose CS to it, as long as you know how to manage the heat, it's so difficult to trade against for practically any melee champion.
Absolutely, and one of the things that can really showcase mastery on the Rumble is exactly this last hitting while you're still using the Flame Spitter to actually be able to harass at the same time. And we see a lot of Rumble players, when they get the push, they'll go beyond the minion wave to deny a lot of that farm and make sure that they're not just auto-pushing with that Flame Spitter while they're harassing.
While we see Contractz up here kind of camping on top side, I want to also point out how Pyosik finished his route on the bottom side and put those two wards down.
Bottom lane, though, it's FBI in trouble, down to 300 HP. This is what I was talking about, the extra power, the heal, the 2v2. FBI is dropped, and it's first blood over to Team Liquid.
TL laid a trap there, and NRG thought they based. We saw that IgNar came out of the brush. I was watching on the spectator client, came out of the brush, used his W on the wave, was trying to hard push that wave, and TL just caught them on that, was laying in wait in that side brush, gets a first blood.
Huge stuff here from Yeon, Rookie of the Year for Team Liquid, paired with former world champion CoreJJ, 2v2 kill in the bottom lane for Team Liquid, and you can see them riding off of this gold lead. This means plenty of bottom side of the map presence. Pyosik can just slide right over to the Dragon and turn that into an objective as well.
And the thing I always look at after a play like that, it's not gold that wins League of Legends, it's items. He's coming back to lane with a Noon Quiver plus the dagger, only the Kirchase Shard for FBI, and Team Liquid with their extra power, just now coming off of the reset. They've got total control over the bot side river. It's a 5-minute and 45-second first Drake for Team Liquid and Pyosik.
And that's really concerning now for NRG. You know, they lose control of that bottom side, they lose control of the 2v2, they lose control of the Dragon, and now NRG, they're going to be on the back foot here because FBI has no sums for quite a long time. And here we can see it one more time. They went for the fake base here, and watch, as IgNar spends his spells on the wave, TL knows they win this 2v2. Beautiful hook in from CoreJJ, immediate ignite, and Yeon follows through.
Yeah, they know. There's no knockup. Like you said, IgNar using it on the wave. CoreJJ flashes forward. They get the cleanse. They got the flash. They got the first blood.
And even back in live, you can see in the camera in the bottom left of your screen there, it was NRG coming bottom, trying to make a counterplay, trying to equalize what had happened because of that 2v2 kill, but it does not work out. Team Liquid's able to escape.
And I want to point out again, Pyosik back into the enemy jungle here on the opposite side on this Viego, going to complete extra pressure against Contractz while he sets up for a possible dive on bottom side.
Exactly. Yeon still has flash. CoreJJ only has the Hex flash. No ignite, no heal. We'll see if Team Liquid can outplay this one here, 2v3. Or
the wave is
NRG's
gone.
even going to do anything with it. I mean, the wave has disappeared, so Contractz won't find a dive angle here. TL's holding on just fine. Pyosik and Summit are stealing away everything from the jungle in the top half of the map for NRG at the same time.
Exactly, so TL has to know that they could be coming, and I think that's why they're contesting the 2v2, holding that wave off the turret so heavily, because you're farming the whole topside jungle.
It's not just a 3v2, it's a 4v2. Yeon flashes away, but CoreJJ is going to get burned up. IgNar barely disengages, and Yeon's going to fall too. NRG brings big Dokes bottom, and they get a big payoff. 2-0.
And Palafox was even on the way. NRG say, if you 2v2 kill our bottom lane, we're bringing the whole dang squad.
I love that from Dhokla. He walked bot and saved the TP. So yes, he just goes straight bot off the base. Then he can TP back towards top, catches the wave, doesn't even lose a plate off of that roam. That is big time plays there from Dhokla.
Getting himself off the top lane island, taking a vacation into bot side. As let's take another look at it. Meanwhile, back in live. Okay, we didn't miss anything huge back in live. Let's go back to the replay here.
Yeah, Dhokla just sneaks down towards that bottom side. It took them a while to get the wave pushed in, but there's no way out for Yeon. The equalizer is perfect across both members. They try to turn and kill off IgNar, don't quite have the damage to burst them down. A massive play there for NRG, and they're able to get a little bit of chip damage down on the turret, so FBI, great buy off of that one.
Now let's take a look at Rift Trail, because we're past the 8 minutes here. It is reset up to the top side. Team Liquid does get chased off as we send Palafox towards bottom side for NRG, because he's got his teleport ready. Even though this is pre-unleashed teleport, he can still teleport to one of the towers.
Absolutely, and I was surprised though that TL didn't just hard force it, because there is no equalizer right now for Dhokla, and I think that's the window that they want to capitalize on. So CoreJJ's up here, and now I think they're going to hard commit to this Herald.
And I think NRG should just give it to them. There's no equalizer, as you say, so you've got Tristana, one of the best turret plate taking champions in the game, on bottom side of the map. And with the Demolish here, we're going to get at least 2 plates for Palafox in payment for that Rift Herald.
Exactly. Palafox cashing in. The Herald itself, if you're only going to get that minimum value, it's a plate and a half, 2 plates. Palafox utilizing the power of the Trist to trade equally on that one. Works out just fine for NRG.
Yep, and Yeon was also moving to be able to cover if there was a Rift Herald fight, so he lost a little bit of farm during that. So the advantage bot is well and truly gone. He's actually down a wave now in CS to FBI. FBI got the kill, got the assist from that roam down by Dhokla, and NRG now sitting in a really good spot here.
Yeah, I want to see what Team Liquid can do about the next Dragon coming up, because it's only barely over 1 minute on the arrival of number 2. Maybe they could set something up. CoreJJ now level 6. A lot of CC packed in that, plus a Neeko, plus a Viego. If you get there early, set up some vision, try and find an early pick, get a reset for Pyosik, we know how that can turn out.
Yeah. Even though the advantage for Yeon individually has disappeared in the bottom lane after that 2v2 kill, the fact that it enabled him to get that first Drake, 5 minutes and 45 seconds, that is a very accelerated Drake pace for the game. It means if they can keep that control and keep this up, that becomes an early win condition if you're threatening a soul. not even 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and our question is answered instantly. Already CoreJJ setting up for it with the wards around, but IgNar answering and clearing them out.
And I feel like Soul is always higher priority when one of the first two dragons is Chemtech, because no one really wants that Soul. Like, that is the weakest
It's
one
off the
available.
table.
Exactly.
Nice.
So you know that there's going to be something decent available for you.
All right, let's see if we get either of those top laners wanting to walk all the way down for it. The teleports, even though they are now unleashed, are not available because of the cooldown. So if anybody wants to join, it's going to be the long way. APA, once again, going to get shoved in here in mid as Contractz and IgNar try to approach from the top side of the river. You can see the control wards placed down from NRG. They got control there. CoreJJ is the first to walk up to the pixel brush. Dredgeline back on a Contractz, but that might be dangerous. NRG wants to counter engage. They immediately explode CoreJJ. Contractz is too tanky. APA with a flash and a pop blossom. Pyosik grabs the first kill. Now he's got the reset with IgNar's body. Forcing the flashback over the wall from Contractz. FBI and Palafox need to get away as Pyosik goes in with a Heartbreaker and right back out with a flash.
A close fight back and forth there. Both teams kill off the enemy support. Do use a lot to do it though, so neither team is confident to actually stay around for the objective. CoreJJ first to engage, but IgNar just goes in with the immediate counter engage, and FBI joining from the bot lane with the killer instinct, plus Palafox coming down from mid, meant they grabbed first kill.
Yeah, this answers one of our questions at the beginning. Will they be a little bit trepidatious because it is finals weekend in a giant stadium? No. Instant answer there. There's an ult from FBI. Palafox jumps in immediately. They do not hesitate. They go for the kill. But Team Liquid answer very quickly. That power of Pyosik and APA with the Neeko and the Viego there does lock the counter kill down. So we'll return to the fight here. Summit looks like he's going for a purchase real quick. And Team Liquid do have the teleport advantage from top side.
Exactly. That's the big difference between what we're seeing now and what we saw in that previous scrap. Right now, there's TP for Summit, but no such thing for Dhokla. NRG's aware of it, so they can't hard force anything around this Drake until those are at least equalized.
Yeah, I think if they want to challenge, Dhokla would actually have to base and just walk bot, right? He'd have to be willing to do that. But there is some risk associated with that as well, and it looks like it is just going to be a TL Dragon very likely. Dhokla is moving down though, so there is an opportunity that they could challenge here. He grabs some honey fruit in the top lane river and is going to try to look to be involved.
Okay, Dhokla's just about to cross through mid right now. APA's got to be careful. He'll just walk down to join the rest of his team. IgNar's gonna see him there. Emote flashed out. Summit's ready to join. Contractz over the wall. Ocean Drake stolen by Contractz. Equalizer finds its way into CoreJJ as Pyosik has to disengage. FBI's coming around from the side. The Pop Blossom's only gonna get the tank. There goes the first one. Contractz is on the board. Palafox is gonna fall in trade, but it's already a 2-for-1. Summit wants to take it further. Whoa, they're still going, but APA gets cooked. Yeon flashes out to trade it a 1-for-1, but Summit will not relent. He finds another kill as FBI drops Yeon. It's Summit versus FBI and IgNar, and Summit is trying to make the play. Flash out from FBI, and Summit finally loses the ulti. FBI still trying to escape. Q1 gonna be canceled there. The nice grand entrance, and the dust settles. 3-for-4.
Summit was going crazy in that fight. He was ignored on the backside, TP'd in, knocked Palafox out of the air to start the fight. And even though NRG was crushing the rest of his team, Summit was a man on a mission on this one, Kobe.
Summit was a one-man team there at the end. At the beginning, though, Contractz steals away the dragon to now split dragons with Team Liquid. And Dhokla actually had a pretty big impact there with his ultimate as well. But Summit goes right for Palafox, and Palafox down without an auto-off in that fight. Just massacred them. So while there was a big early lead for NRG, Summit is able to get the resets on Aatrox and just lifesteal tank up the rest of the team. FBI even has a little bit of a late flash coming up here after the chain, which makes it very necessary for them to run, and they know they cannot take down that aspect of war.
Absolutely. I mean, Summit just kept getting the resets, had the perma ulti, and now he has the Dusk Blade. The Q2 on the rocket jump from Palafox, though, was what really, I think, turned that fight, more towards his favor. He got the first kill without even having to pop the ulti, was able to pop it, had a good time to extend the duration of it. So really smart play there. Delayed his ultimate until he actually needed it to make sure that it would last him throughout the entire fight.
And let's not forget, everything started off with Contractz stealing away the Drake to make sure that Team Liquid didn't continue building that lead. Honestly, gentlemen, we have a bloodbath. 12 kills in 14 minutes in game number 1 of this qualifier match for the final. Let's see what's going to happen around this second Herald, because Team Liquid is nearby, but it's absolutely NRG's control over the topside river right now.
It's also Hextech Soul that will be on the table, and that, especially for a double marksman team, is incredibly powerful. So I think we're going to get a lot of these team fights throughout the game.
All right, so pretty big one-item power spikes coming in for the side of Team Liquid after that fight as well. We got the Duskblade finished on Summit, so even more massive reset potential for this Aatrox. Everybody going to keep their eyes on that one. Dhokla now is recalling from bottom lane with an Unleashed teleport ready.
Exactly. That's what you got to keep your eyes on. Team Liquid, they've got the Herald down to 3K. Contractz coming in, forces out the ulti from Yeon immediately at the start. IgNar's going to be interrupted, but CoreJJ is going to get killed. APA with a pop blossom on 2. FBI drops. Contractz now has to try to get out of Palafox. Is going to get heartbroken. Pyosik picking up the kill. Contractz is on the run, and Pyosik ain't done. He'll keep putting bullets in his back, and he wants the explosive shot. There's the last one. A double kill back coming to Pyosik. A 3 for 1 for Team Liquid.
What a turnaround engage there from APA, setting up Pyosik and Summit to again go crazy in that fight. TL deflect the initial engage with the ulti from Yeon. Yes, they lose core, but it doesn't matter because their carries go crazy.
Yeah, FBI got destroyed. He had nowhere to go with his ultimate. Let me see if there is a possibility with his killer instinct here. CoreJJ was the only one with plasma on him. Yeah, you don't get to move. No. Bits of bounce house in there. APA into the Aatrox, demolishing that Kai'Sa, and poof, both those carries are gone.
And Palafox again, not having much impact in that fight. APA was able to sneak a route through multiple champions and actually clip him at the very end of it. He didn't see it coming, and that meant that Summit and Pyosik were both able to jump in on top of him and burst down Palafox for the second fight in a row without him being able to do anything.
And that is the main adaptation that Team Liquid have made since getting knocked into the lower bracket by NRG. They have put APA on these facilitator champions. So much CC he can bring to these team fights to set up his teammates to get so many kills.
And talking about Palafox, he just had to use the flash up there. So now that that's on cooldown, not going to be ready. It's 35 seconds until the Hex Drake spawns. Pyosik is not afraid to just ride the Hex Gate straight into the darkness. He knows nobody wants to find him.
I mean, they're feeling really confident, and TL again is setting up aggressively on that bottom side. You can see Core in the river, Pyosik invading the enemy jungle, APA is down there. There's multiple members from TL in that bot side. So NRG are trying to punish them for that, trying to push up towards this top tier 1. Use Palafox to pick up some gold on the map, but it's going to be a difficult proposition because Summit is there defending that turret, and he is incredibly strong at this point.
APA also working on taking out this tier 1 turret in the bottom lane. Despite all the kills, despite 16 kills in 17 minutes, no turrets taken down yet. Palafox could easily remedy that. APA could do the same. It's a race for first turret. Let's see who's going to win. An equalizer in the bottom lane makes APA stop just long enough for NRG to get the bonus gold.
Tristana wins the turret race. I'm shocked. It was a close one there, though. Does get answered on the opposite side, and it is still incredibly close here for this game. But coming mid with the Rift Herald, Team Liquid will for sure be able to charge down this turret, even though there are NRG players in the area. It might be a flank opportunity for IgNar. You see him in the Raptor pit here, looking for an angle.
Oh, but they immediately just engage on Contractz instead. TP coming in from both sides here, as now you got to disengage from NRG. It was actually the double TP from Team Liquid. Summit and APA, both ready to reinforce their troops. They're going to get a second Herald charge off. Even though it's just Herald and 5 champions, that's enough. Tier 2 falls. Team Liquid up over 1,500 gold.
Nice aggressive movement. Dhokla looking for APA.
APA's got to disengage from that rumble. He does not want to stick around in the overheated flame spitter. NRG's still seeing if maybe they can catch something off the back end of this, because what was originally a 1-for-1 trade in tier 1 turrets and side lanes ends up being +1 Drake, +1 tier 1 mid, +1 tier 2 mid, all for Team Liquid.
It's worth noting, despite the fact that Palafox hasn't been able to have a big impact in these last 2 fights, he's actually the richest member of either team in the game right now, because he has spent a lot of time in side lanes, got those bot lane plates, got the first turret gold up the top. So he's going to have a quick second item here.
Yeah, the double static shivs on the side of NRG do allow them to keep those minions in check, no problem. That is very good value out of that Rift Herald from Team Liquid, though.
Yeah.
Really massive to get 2 towers with it off of that push, even though they had to invest this top lane teleport, which we keep having desynced teleport timers for these 2 teams. Now we're on the timer where NRG are the ones with Dhokla's teleport as an advantage.
And we'll have to see how these teams can actually really play the map, because I think one of the criticisms of Team Liquid, especially in the regular season, as we'll see if Core can get away here.
Yeah, IgNar's coming around. He wanted to use the Hex Gate to cut him off, but CoreJJ escapes to his team in time. He's burning away. He's marked with plasma, but there's no way for FBI to try to jump in any further. We already used the killer instinct, so NRG won't find a kill, but they force Team Liquid back far enough to allow Palafox to take take another tier 1 turret.
Exactly. They push him out of that bot side river. They claim a tower. Summit lying in wait in that side brush in bot lane. So I'm going to be interested to see if he can get a jump on Palafox, but Palafox will back off. But either way, you know, one of the criticisms of TL has been, yes, you have an incredible early game, but what do you get done in the mid game? Do you make those mistakes? So now, without the double TP up, I want to see how they navigate these next couple minutes. Will they still look to challenge that Dragon? Will they be there in time?
And they're going to start up the Baron. Dragon, what is that? Team Liquid immediately onto the Baron. Pyosik's on a big 2-item power spike too, well ahead of a lot of other players in the game, and this thing is burning down.
Summit's coming around from the side. Contractz and IgNar are going to be careful here, but they might be able to turn it around back onto the Team Liquid top laner immediately. The Baron is still burning away. It's going to be secured by Pyosik as Summit has to try to dash back over the wall, but he's going to be killed shortly. Shut down back over to Palafox. Team Liquid got the Baron, but now they're on the run. NRG won't be able to find anything else just yet, but Palafox still looking with the rocket jump. No, he won't find it. APA's clone going to be used to make sure NRG's not still chasing. It's a Baron for one trade. Team Liquid immediately pull the trigger.
So quick there. Incredible. Only one player plus possibly mid-tower here traded for that Baron, and Pyosik is on the hunt.
Can Team Liquid find anything here? No, NRG still just pathing back down into this bot side river. There's no Drake spawned right now. It's not like NRG's going to get a whole lot back from that. The Baron power play right now is sitting at -90, but there's still 2.5 minutes almost for Team Liquid to try to bulldoze some turrets buffed up with this.
And it just seemed like some split decisions there from NRG. You know, Dhokla was trying to go into the pit with the equalizer. The rest of the team was trying to engage away from the pit and try to win the fight, and they're not able to get on the same page to really punish TL.
Oh no! Dhokla! He rode the Hex Gate straight to hell. Team Liquid picks up a freebie.
Oh, you can say that again. That's about as free as they come. Delivered in lights, and Team Liquid, since they've got the Baron, they can just turn this into a bottom siege. They've got a minion wave on the way for them right now. They look, they are cruising through this mid game. No hesitation on that Baron. They knew they had the DPS with a double item power spike for Pyosik, as well as having Yeon there. They just melted through that thing.
And now they're going to melt through the tier 2 turret. Team Liquid's gold lead up to 2,500. They're at +1 Drake. Kills even at 9-9. NRG just taking a defensive stance, trying to hold on. There's still Baron for another minute and 15 seconds.
Absolutely, and they're still going to have that available for this next Dragon in the replay. Avert your eyes, NRG fans, as Dhokla, signed, sealed, delivered right into the pockets of TL there.
Those Hex Gates are dangerous. Your jungle is not your jungle anymore. And Team Liquid have taken over. And they get the reset off. Baron not going to last for too much longer. Doesn't look like they're going to get a bunch out of it. Even though there's 50 seconds left, no more sieging to be done, and we'll turn our eyes towards that Dragon instead.
Exactly. Pyosik already on the way into the bot side river. He'll be able to take control over this. He's got APA pushing in the bottom lane. He's got Yeon with CoreJJ shadowing him, pushing up the mid lane. He knows they have total control over this area. They're going to get Soul Point now 23 minutes into the game. Palafox will trade it back for a tier 2 turret in top to try to make up some of the gold distance. But meanwhile, back in mid, Yeon and CoreJJ are not facing enough opposition to stop them. They're going to knock down this tier 3.
And they're getting bot as well. They're actually pushing through bot and mid at the same time. That bot lane tower may survive as APA is going to be forced to run here, but they get a lot from that. Oh, they are going to look for APA.
Ooh, Contractz ulti just barely going to miss the mark. APA utilizing the little bit of movement that you get from the rocket belt to dodge away from it.
But even though TL are in a pretty commanding position here, NRG are not out of this just yet, and they're moving towards their third item on both Palafox and FBI. Those are going to be big spikes for both of these carries. So if they can get a good fight around that soul point, deny that Hextech soul from TL, this is still anybody's game.
Team Liquid grouped up bottom. They have both of these tier 3 turrets at such incredibly low health. It would be very simple to walk up and knock a couple of autos into one of those and take it out, and it looks like that's what the plan is. Summit is up in the top lane, but he has his teleport ready to go. Equalizer used to block the entire lane, so there's nowhere safe for Team Liquid to go. Pyosik, defensive heartbreaker, back over the wall to rejoin his team.
All right, good Rumble ultimate to stop the siege there. Defend the last little remnants of their base for NRG, but man, the damage has been done. Team Liquid with such a massive mid-game push.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Baron, a big injection of gold, but we do have the Ludens now coming through here for FBI. BT is going to be next on the docket for Palafox. And it's going to be all about the setup for this next Dragon fight, because you cannot afford to give any more Dragons if you're NRG. You have to stop the Hextech Soul. It is so incredibly powerful. Contractz, though, potentially caught out here.
Yeah, Summit's going over the wall. He's already found the enemy jungler. He's got Pyosik right next to him. Dhokla wants to reinforce it, and the TP coming in to make sure NRG does not lose this fight. Ultimately, Team Liquid decides to retreat, seeing the resources committed, but now CoreJJ is ready to rejoin. Dhokla and Palafox making their way down into the bottom lane as Palafox sidesteps the Spectral Maw. That could have been dicey.
Now they've got the rest of the team coming here, so Team Liquid going to have to exit the area. You have to be a little bit wary when you're retaking areas of the map like this after your opponents have just been hard pushing, because you have to assume they will have the big vision advantage. Left wards behind, there's an ult hits!
Nice catch coming out, but where's the damage to follow it up? Pyosik can walk away from it just fine. APA's ready to reinforce here with a pop loss. Somebody ain't gonna get nobody. NRG now seeing what they might be able to turn around as an equalizer finds its way onto the bottom lane, and jungler of Team Liquid. Contractz tanks up a little, and Team Liquid keeps walking it away. There goes FBI. There's the killer instinct. Yeon with a flash over the wall to survive, but CoreJJ can't say the same. Team Liquid has lost a single man, and NRG wants to make it more. Summit with a dash, making sure he doesn't get hit by another Void Seeker. TL disengages.
There's pings over by that Baron, so they want to reclaim some of this Baron vision here, but the problem is this next Dragon's going to be up, and you spent your flash on both IgNar as well as Dhokla for something that didn't really amount to much. You got a little bit of gold, but I don't know if it's going to be worth it. They'll have to capitalize on the missing flash from Yeon.
Yeah, at least, exactly. At least they did get the flash out of Yeon in trade for those, having to blow it defensively to escape over the wall. In the end, you only get one kill for yourselves, but one of the biggest things was Palafox buster shot onto APA Neeko as the ult is coming in. They need to have some sort of answer, some sort of denial for these big Team Liquid engages, because APA has been finding their carries, been finding their backline.
Especially because he TP'd in between the front line and the back line. It was such a good TP location for Neeko there. You know, it could have been an absolute disaster for NRG had Palafox not found that buster shot, so well played by him. You can see APA now approaching his death cap. Third item spike's going to be coming through for the TL carries here fairly shortly as well, but both Palafox and FBI have reached their third item. You can see a lot of spell pen built up by Dhokla, and he's grabbing the stopwatch. Everyone is going to be trying to get as powerful as possible for this next fight, because this next fight could be the game.
Exactly. Everything remains on a knife's edge. NRG are trying to do a two-man Baron, but a control ward over the wall from TL is going to see it.
They want Summit to TP, and now they're going to get Summit TP. They likely will back off here.
Okay, the Baron, the DPS has been stopped. Summit's coming in. APA's still off on the flank. IgNar and Contractz, gotta be careful here. IgNar ready to go in, here with the quickness. Equalizer's already been dropped. CoreJJ on the front, popping the stasis, trying to stay alive. They mistimed the grand entrance, but it won't matter. FBI's got a kill. Team Liquid, 4v5 now. NRG still having plenty of HP left. Another Void Seeker finds Yeon. He's down to 1/3. NRG's gonna take that as a green light, and they're gonna go right back to Baron.
All right, they're going to start it back up. Summit's going to fish around the backside. Pyosik looking for a way into steal, but it doesn't look like he's going to get it.
They immediately want Summit. Palafox and Contractz go over the wall, and with Aatrox gone, Baron is NRG's for the taking.
And then guess what? Only 28 seconds later is Dragon. They can Baron-empowered recall and immediately run straight to that Dragon with the Hex Gates. Team Liquid, they do take the opportunity to get that mid tower, though.
Exactly. They got the 1 tier 3, at least in trade.
And Summit's death is so much more costly because he spent his TP to die.
Oh, boy! Everybody from NRG's coming in together. They're playing it different this time. The Hex Gate has brought the whole squad to Team Liquid. APA tries to get out. He's got to keep running. IgNar almost caught up to him as the Void Seeker goes right between the uprights. Here's the stun from Sejuani. APA's down to a quarter HP. Pop Blossom ain't gonna do it. And CoreJJ's the cherry on top. Pyosik won't get hit by IgNar, but NRG's already picked up 2 more for free, and the Drake is going their way too.
We're looking at real-time machine learning from NRG there. They're like, this time around, we're sending the tank in first through those dangerous Hex Gates, and Contractz tries to chase them down.
Yeah.
What an adaptation there. Off that Baron-empowered reset, Team Liquid are like, oh my god, we have to get something back. You could feel the pressure from their side. They wanted to try and stop NRG from making this big comeback, but they just cannot. They do not have the numbers.
Absolutely. They were trying to get a pick. If they picked off a carry, they wanted to try to get Soul. They wanted to try to get Dragon with that to be able to really take something back. But Contractz being the first member through shut that down. And NRG's carries now are really becoming a problem here for TL.
I sincerely hope game number 1 is indicative of the entire series. This has been a back and forth between these two teams, and it has been a hell of a good time to watch. NRG now barreling down the bot lane with a whole lot of minions. They're ready to put the pressure on the Team Liquid base. Pyosik and Summit off to the side here. They don't want to enter just yet. Double cannon minions providing the DPS. That turret is dropping pretty quick.
We also have to remember APA no flash. He actually tried to re-engage as he died, used the flash to do it. That is a massive tool missing from Neeko.
All right, bottom lane tier 3 turret at about 1/4. Mid lane turret singing the same song thanks to Palafox. The pressure is on. Team Liquid are now where NRG was 10 minutes ago, but it's real hard to hold on. Contractz with the engage. Yeon is already dead. There was no cleanse. There was no way out. APA and the rest of Team Liquid heading right back into the fountain as NRG will chase them off of both inhibitors and continue their push now. They're going to go straight for the Nexus if I had to guess. Team Liquid, 4v5 defense. They got to try to hold on. Void Seeker's flying out. First Nexus turret, down below half. So many cannon minions just providing the damage. TL cannot find an angle. Summit wants the Infernal Chains. Palafox walks right out. Nexus is open. Team Liquid cannot contest. NRG are going to go straight for the win. And they are going to take down Liquid and take game 1.
NRG pick up right where they left off round 1 of playoffs with Team Liquid. They open it up with another win here. I will say though, this game was really back and forth. Team Liquid had a nice 2,500 gold lead in their hands. 3 dragons so close to the soul. They had pushing power. Really, really close.
Extremely back and forth game. Really fun one to watch. Both teams coming out, just going full throttle from the word go here. Neither team showing those nerves on stage. They both look confident. They both look aggressive. And I think that means we are going to be in for such a treat of a series. These two teams are chaos incarnate. It's going to be a fun one.
And I really, really wanted to see Dhokla in particular step up for NRG. Yeah, he had that oopsie play with a Hex Gate, but he had a lot of really good equalizers to stop Team Liquid's team fighting, to have a lot of impact and win some of those critical moments in what was such a close game. So kill heavy for so long. These two teams are ready to bring it. And back to what you guys said at the very top of Champ Select, talking about best of 5s, talking about what you're willing to throw out there, your adaptations, the data that you're interpreting as you go. I'm excited to see what they change for game number 2.
And I really thought coming into this series, there were going to be 2 big issues, one for each team that they were going to have to try and problem solve. One was going to be the top lane champion pool for NRG. Looks like they solved that. Dhokla had a good Rumble game for himself. They did not look like it slowed them down at all. The other one was the mid lane on the side of NRG. And honestly, I think it has been a good look and it's been a good solve for the side of Team Liquid too. So with both of them really patching up those issues, that's why this is looking so good.
It's a beautiful thing.
All righty, with game 1 done, let's head over to the LCS Lounge to break it all down. Thank you so much, Flowers. That game 1 had just about everything you could want in game 1 of a series. A Baron take going both ways, razor-thin margins to the end, and NRG coming out just on top by a hair. And ultimately, it was Contractz who delivered the win, and thanks to Grubhub, delivered the dub for the team with the Baron take and the call to even make this play happen to begin with.
I love seeing this out of Contractz, the aggressive, decisive decision to turn here as they target down CoreJJ. A nice equalizer as well, separates the team, leaves them stranded, and then without that as their kind of primary engage tool, it's very hard for Team Liquid to find the angle back on the Baron.
Yeah, CoreJJ did queue in. He was dying sometimes accidentally, it felt like, in these team fights when NRG was just dumping damage from Kai'Sa W's or Rumbles. But what a turnaround from NRG in this game.
If you forgot how Team Liquid and NRG games go,
a reminder.
This is a great reminder.
Now this weekend, we're here to both crown a brand new LCS champion and get you the best food delivered right to your door with Grubhub. Use the code LCS Summer for $10 off your delivery order of $15 or more for new diners. Only terms do apply, so make sure you check those out. Let's talk about this game 1 because we wanted to see what would be different and what would maybe ring the same as the first time these two teams met. Emily, what's your take right out the gate?
What wasn't different was Team Liquid's approach to draft, right? For those that don't know, Aatrox is actually one of Summit's first champions when he first started getting noticed on the ladder. I actually thought several times throughout this there were going to be points where Summit would just be able to take over. Still prioing the Viego and the Neeko super heavily from TL was something that we kind of expected going in, but saw it right here in game 1.
I think the big thing for me that was a question mark was why didn't they grab the Kai'Sa? Their composition that they used to beat Golden Guardians hinged on the fact that you had a Kai'Sa to follow up the engage that Pyosik and APA were going for. They let that one go through. FBI scaled with it. He started landing some poke in the late game. It seemed like a huge problem for them, and I don't know why their priority on it changed.
That's probably fair, but the actual team fights and how they worked out worked so well for Team Liquid after a certain point once they got the lead, because you already mentioned, Emily, like her raid boss summit, fighting into it was so difficult. It made it hard for the Rakan to do too much. And also, the moment you get one possession as Viego, the snowball went through. And I thought APA set them up so well in some of the fights, especially the top river fight.
I mean, he did. I'd say the silent killer was the 3-item Kai'Sa, though.
Big agree.
Like, they kill CoreJJ, but then they land 1 W on Yeon, and they take him out of the fight, and they get Baron. It was a really, it's still a really weird game to process, because it felt like Raid Boss Summit was just going to carry the game, but TL made nothing of it. So it almost looked like a regression of TL to not be able to close, and it makes me pretty worried for them in the series.
Yeah, talk about that matchup. Is it an NRG specific thing? I guess we'll find as we look towards game number 2. But before we go to break, we're going down to the stage where Gabby will be announcing the winners of our cosplay contest presented by Verizon.
Hi, we are Kooky and Candy Cat Cosplay, and we're cosplaying Star Guardian Ari and Neeko.
I'm Cobalt Cosplay, and I'm an Ashen Knight Pike.
I'm Katinka, and I'm cosplaying Divine Phoenix Anivia.
My name is Halby. I'm cosplaying Heidi Leo.
Hi, I'm Kikia, and I'm really excited to show off my Project Lucian cosplay.
Welcome to the stage, everyone. It is finally time to announce the winners of our cosplay contest presented by Verizon. First up, we have the fan favorite vote and winner of an extra $500, Cobalt Cosplay Ashen Knight Pike. Next up, our second runner-up and winner of $1,000. We've got Katinka with Divine Phoenix Anivia. Our first runner-up and winner of $2,500. It is Candy Cat Cosplay and Kooky Cosplay Star Guardian Neeko and Ari. And finally, last but not least, the grand prize winner getting $5,000 and a trip to Worlds, Cobalt Cosplay Ashen Knight Pike. As an extra thank you, we have this bouquet. Beautiful flowers, but they ain't got nothing on your cosplay. Everyone in the audience, give it up one more time for our finalists of the cosplay contest. Congratulations to everyone again that joined us on the stage here today. For all of those watching at home, stay tuned because on the other side of the break, we'll be readying ourselves up for game 2 of NRG versus Team Liquid. See you there.
Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
Typical beginner's mistake. Yes, they all start from the outside. So, will we help him? What else? Here, try it with Red Bull.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The last time I played in LCS Finals was 2017 on C9. It was my first taste of LCS, so it felt like the norm, right? Being a rookie and getting to those highs. It's something that you feel is expected in the future. So to not be able to hit those highs again for a very long time was kind of like a reality check in a sense. Just made me work harder each year, made me keep striving for greatness, and to finally have that trophy, to finally be able to lift it up would just mean the world to me. It would prove that all the hard work and dedication that I put into this game has paid off.
But Contractz has adapted beautifully in this game too, as CoreJJ finds a massive stun onto Palafox. Can they lock him down for the damage? But he still has the flash to play with, and Contractz once again with the Keeper's Verdict.
The poke comp reigns supreme, and NRG riddles him full of holes.
Make sure to use LCS Summer for $10 off your order of $15 or more for new diners until the end of the split. Terms apply.